allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-643-6931 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-643-6931 to take your call now. Call 1-800-643-6931. That's 1-800-643-6931. Again, 1-800-643-6931.
We don't do the St. John's no more. We don't do the
Chance the Rapper and his girlfriend Kirsten Corley are engaged. The 25-year-old hip-hop artist popped the question during a 4th of July barbecue yesterday. A video of the proposal was shared on Instagram, and Chance the Rapper also wrote on Twitter, "She said yes." He and Corley have been together since 2013 and have a 2-year-old daughter. Harry Styles, Selena Gomez, and 5 Seconds of Summer are all on the 2018 Songs of the Summer list from Rolling Stone. Styles comes in at number 8 with his track Carolina. 5 Seconds of Summer, If Walls Could Talk from their new Young Blood album is 11th, and Gomez's Back to You is 14th. Rolling Stone's top song of the summer this year is Cardi B's I Like It.
Yeah, I know that I let you down. Is it too late to say sorry now?
Justin Bieber and Hailey Baldwin continue to spark dating rumors. The two were spotted hanging out on the beach in the Hamptons on July 4th. The NYPD is a fan of Katy Perry. A few officers sang the artist's song Firework inside a police cruiser in a video uploaded to social media. It comes a few days after the Boston Police Department put up a video of officers singing God Bless America. That's entertainment. Lisa G., NBC News Radio.
Attention all business owners, join See's Candies, Big Lots, Dollar Tree, and the Spunky Steer at the Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands. Availability is now open for restaurants, retail, and more. Located between Alabama and the Tennessee exits where the 10 and the 210 meet, your company can be a part of over 60 retail shops, restaurants, and local businesses. The Tri-City Shopping Center is zoned for multi-use, so call today and schedule an appointment. Ask for Chris Beauchamp or John Jennings, 951-684-4400. The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands. The mall with a heart.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the greatest real estate investment show ever. Here's the flip-flop investor himself, Todd Bayer.
Well, hey everyone, how we doing out there today? This is the Flip-Flop Investor Show, and I am your host, Todd Bayer, the Flip-Flop Investor himself. For those of you that don't know, we get together every week and talk about real estate investing here in the Inland Empire. I like to bring on a local expert every week and talk to them about what they do in real estate and what they're doing in this crazy business to begin with, I guess. So today we got one of the most experienced people we've ever had on the show. Usually we have just a bunch of hacks, really, I guess. But today we have a real expert, and our real expert is Ryan Raven. How you doing today, Ryan?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. We, we're dealing with the heat in our own little personal ways today.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Preview for the summer.
Oh, man. Tomorrow's going to be worse. Everybody has been talking about it. It's going to be 100 and something out here in the Inland Empire tomorrow. Yeah.
I've heard 115. So.
Oh, man.
Air conditioners are definitely going to be needed.
That just sounds hot to me. Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be the day that all those heating, HVAC people are going to be crazy busy and
right.
Ungettable. You're not going to be able to get anybody to your house tomorrow. So if you think your air conditioning has a problem, call somebody today. Tonight,
I don't care if it's a dry heat. If it's over 100, it's still hot.
Oh, yeah, no matter what. And, yeah, there's only so much an air conditioning can do,
right.
Especially if you have an older system.
Yeah.
So we at the office have a new system just put in last year. So
I know, it's been feeling nice.
It's been feeling good, yeah.
I was a little worried.
I hardly even noticed it was hot until I went outside, and I'm like, oh, man. Yeah, it kind of knocked me on my ass a little bit, but
yeah.
that happens.
Right.
So, So, Ryan, you are the Chief Lending Officer of Rehab Loan Group.
Yes.
But you come from a long line of lending. This isn't, the hard money business is new to you, I guess, but it's not, it's not new to you, but it's you're new to the company.
I'm going back to my roots. It's where I started. That
Really?
was actually my first job as a loan officer was hard money. Back in the day, back in what was that? 89.
Okay.
89 and 90, lending out at 18%, 18 points, and
Oh man.
that was when it was really hard.
Yeah, that was extremely hard money. That's back alley hard.
Yes. Guido came out to collect the payments.
Yeah, hey, you got to get it somehow,
Right?
Yeah, and payments were being made in cash, I would imagine.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, not these days. The hard money world today is very soft money looking.
Very much so.
And it's funny because back then, whoever heard of a credit check, for a hard money loan?
Oh, I know.
Whoever heard of most of the things that hard money lenders do now, like, automated payment systems, online payment platforms. I mean, it's a very coddled version of hard money nowadays.
It is.
And, it's funny because, hard money back in the day, you'd say, I'm Ryan, I want to do a loan. What can you give me? And some guy would make a loan to you, and it was pretty simple. They'd record a deed of trust on the property, and, everything was good. But now you got all these regulations in the way, and
all the Dodd-Frank. And
yeah, Dodd-Frank, RESPA, TILA, man. People have to know what they're signing up for now. So you have to tell them, Guido will be at your doorstep every Thursday.
5 days late.
Yeah, exactly. On the 5th day late, he will bring a friend with him. We don't know his name yet, but we may never know his name.
Never.
No, so the hard money loans, there's a lot of people out there that like to buy property with hard money.
Right.
And hard money is, it's really one of the better methods, I would say, for a new real estate investor or somebody even that's on a bigger scale to do deals, to do flip deals, because not everybody just has hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars sitting around in their checking account ready to get deployed at any moment, right?
Right. Once you're done with the cash in your account, you've got no more left over to finish the rehab or go out and acquire more properties.
Or eat, And
eating's, that's nice.
Yeah,
I like
always
eating.
Nice. Yeah, I like eating
as
a
you
couple
can
times
tell.
a day. Yeah. Oh man, don't look at me. So let's kind of go through a little bit of since we went through the history of hard money already with the with the back alley talk and everything. Let's go through the reality of hard money these days. It's nothing like that. I don't it never really has ever been like that. I'm sure in 1989 you weren't really sending a finely dressed Italian gentleman to people's homes to collect payment. No. Yeah.
We were leaving that up to the casinos.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that was still going on at that time. So the way you kind of go about it now is very typical to a mortgage, really. I mean, it's going to be less documentation.
Much less.
So you don't need
It's
birth
much more an
certificates for your kids.
asset-based loan that we're relying on the value of the property to be there from the time you purchase it all the way through until you sell the property. And pretty much if you can't get a hard money loan, you probably shouldn't be doing the deal. That's probably red flag number one.
Yeah, exactly.
If not more than one red flag before then.
Yeah.
It's a good way to double check your numbers to make sure that hey, you got a deal, and if the hard money lender's willing to give you their money, you just might have a deal.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I've heard that's like some of that old investment advice that if you can't convince 5 people to do something, you probably shouldn't do it.
Right.
And hard money lenders are good people to kind of run your deal through, because if they're going to be putting their money into your deal, it's got to make sense to them too.
Sure. Sure.
I remember one of my first partners, he used to tell me, like, when I try to pitch him a deal, like, this is going to be a deal, but it's always that but, right? It's like all this other stuff we got to do to this place. And he would always tell me, like, if I got to stand on one leg and kind of tilt my head to the side to make it look like a deal, I don't want to do it. It's got to be pretty obvious from the get-go that it looks like a deal. So, and a lot of new people have a hard time with that, I think.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, they just got this deal, and it's like this precious deal. They want to hang on to it. They're going ring shopping with it, like they're about to get married to this deal. But you're like, look, man, it's not really a deal.
They fall in love with it, and they're like, they just know it's a deal. Just know it's a deal. Except for, the extra rehab that they really need, and
Right.
all the little extras that come into handy.
We're forgetting
come into
about that
play.
illegal addition off the back of the house.
Right.
We're forgetting about a lot of things when we're, yeah.
Or the AC that it isn't working and has to be repaired that
Or
you thought
doesn't-
was going to work.
or doesn't have it all.
Right.
Oh man, yeah, we've had to do some of those. We actually did one not that long ago, and nobody noticed this. The house we did in Bloomington, we did this house, just kept doing it. It was in the wintertime, so nobody ever thought to turn on the air or heater because it never
Sure.
got that cold in the winter either. So, we're going along it, and then at the very end, we're doing our final walkthrough, and I'm like, "Where's the thermostat?" And I'm looking for the thermostat. I wasn't even looking at to see if there were vents anywhere. I'm just looking for the thermostat to see if we put one in. I want to see which model we put in. That's actually all I was doing. And lo and behold, there was no thermostat. And then as I did further inspection, I realized there's no air conditioning vents. And then I look around the house. I'm like, there's no air conditioning anywhere. So,
The "Are you need one too" model.
yeah, exactly. So I told our contractor, I'm like, hey man, we don't have an air conditioning here. And he's like, well, that's going to be kind of tough to do. So I'm like, well, explain tough to me. Like, how tough is this going to be at this stage? And obviously it was going to be very tough. We ended up doing mini split systems,
Right.
throughout the house because
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind
a
of
good
an easier,
option.
Yeah, it's an easier way to do it.
Right.
But still, we had to lay a little money out at the end that we didn't expect to at the beginning.
Of
so,
course.
but it was still a good deal.
Right. Those are all the things you got to plan for when you're in the process of doing a flip. You got to plan for those little overruns and those little things that you miss here and there, and make sure that you get the deal at the right price. And
Yeah. Now, so when people are doing their hard money loan, you're going to want to try to get your rehab built into it. I'm sure most people want to,
Of course.
you're going to want to borrow money to purchase the property first of all, and then you're also going to want some money to do the renovations on it. And nobody I know of right now is doing 100% financing where you can get all the money you need to purchase it and all the money you need to rehab it.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, not at the moment, and when they do, that might be a sign of a different economy that we may not want to be a part of. Who knows?
Right. I think we've seen that one before.
Exactly, yeah. That was a good time back in 2006, wasn't it?
Free money.
Oh, man. Yeah. The ninja loans. But,
So most of the time, hard money lenders are looking at the equity position. So they're looking for a little what's called skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So they want the investor to have a little bit of money into the deal just in case something goes wrong. That they're not just going to walk away
Right.
at the end of the deal and not pay back the lender. So of course the lender wants to be paid back. We're not in the business of taking back houses, but if we have to, we've built in the equity position that it won't hurt us if we have to.
which
So
we've had to do.
typically, we're looking for anywhere between 10% and 30% of the purchase price, and then depending on your experience level, we're really not looking at credit so much. Credit's not as much of a factor for these hard money loans.
Sure.
Income's typically not as much of a factor either. Income can be stated with most investors. They don't even care about it. They're looking at the value of the property as the income to
Right.
pay back. So,
Yeah, are you a good bet, really? Is the house,
Right.
is it going to be valuable enough to the point where if the lender were to take it back, are they
Yeah.
going to lose money on this thing is
Right.
what they're mostly concerned with, I'm sure.
Yeah, and they're looking at it like, okay, if we're going to put our money into it, are you also? So that's where the experience level comes into play. Somebody who's experienced, we understand, you want to put as little capital into it so you can put it into the next deal or go acquire, 2 or 3 more deals with
Right.
the capital that you have. So, for that kind of a guy, we're looking at 10% down. But, somebody who's brand new, never done a deal, you're probably going to need closer to 30-35% down.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
unless you got some family or friends that are really confident in you, and will put up that other
And hopefully
20
you
to
do.
30%. Yeah, and hopefully you do. You probably do actually. That's how a lot of people get into the business.
Yeah.
They start with family or friend money that. They're like, hey, I want to be a real estate investor. I found this awesome deal. I
Right.
found this awesome lender, rehab loan group. And they're gonna make this loan to me, and it's gonna go great. And we're all gonna make a ton of money, and just do this 56 times a day. And
Right.
make money all day long. It'll be great. So, they're out there.
Yeah, it's like they say in sales, try your family first, sell your family first. If you can't sell them, maybe you might want to look at something different.
Yeah, hopefully they'll still love you after you try to sell them whatever product.
After they say
you're trying- Yeah, exactly. Oh man, yeah. That's kind of the who did that? That was like the Primerica method, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What's his name? What's the guy that started Primerica? Art Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's good motivator.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen any speeches by Art by any chance? Art
Not
Williams?
too many. One or two.
If you ever get a chance, he's a good one to watch because he's just he's kind of an aw shucks kind of Southern guy, and just do it. That's kind of his method, his like term, like just do it.
Right.
Nike stole it,
Nike.
I think. Yeah. Yeah, he had a good speech about that. But they, so the hard money loans, you go in, you don't have to give them your tax returns usually. You're not going to have to give them, W-2s and all this,
Right.
paycheck stubs. Like, they don't care about that.
No.
You probably don't have them anyway. If you're a real estate investor, you probably don't really have paycheck stubs.
Or W-2s.
Yeah, or W-2s, from your side business, working at the gas station or something. I don't know.
Sure.
But the lenders are pretty easygoing, as far
Most
as
of the time.
as far as things go. But they'll be tough if they need to be.
Yeah. It's a completely different world than the conventional world, that I come
Yeah.
from. Working at the big bank, I just left a big bank, and they want every single piece of paper, including your kids' birth certificates
Right.
and the
Yep.
what's in your kitchen cabinet and how much money do you have
Right.
for this expense and that expense, and
Yeah.
how long have you been on the job, and all
It's-
that other good stuff. They and a little blood sample as well.
Yeah,
so,
it doesn't hurt.
They can track you
Fingerprints.
down.
Yeah, I know that one lender we worked with. They had me wear a little bracelet around my ankle for a
Oh,
while,
yeah.
just to track me,
Right.
see where I'm going, for the next 30 years.
Standard operating procedure.
Standard operating procedure. Yeah.
Just make sure you don't leave the country
Did you get
without
the
paying
110
them back.
model or the 112 model? Yeah. Yeah, the new one comes with Wi-Fi. Yeah. No, they're not really doing some of that stuff, but it seems like it when you're
Right.
trying to get approved for a mortgage
Oh
loan.
yeah, oh yeah. It can be a process, that's for sure.
And that's why we just don't typically deal in that world. It's a much different world dealing with investors. The investors are, the goal is simple. It's not some complicated goal. You don't know what's going through a homeowner's head.
Right.
Some homeowner might buy a house thinking, I'm going to renovate this whole place. And, it might actually be a riskier thing for that lender in some respects because,
Sure.
a person can tear apart a home. I've seen plenty of homes that
Yes.
were owned by homeowners that have been torn apart. That's usually where we're finding our good deals from.
Right.
And there's a poor lender on the other side that had no idea any of this was going on.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they have to take back an asset that is completely underwater.
Oh, yeah.
And it's completely self-inflicted from the person that owned it prior to them.
And most lenders, they're not going to lend to a house that has a hole in the wall or no flooring or has a crack in the window or somebody's in the middle of expanding a bedroom or putting in a bath that's halfway done.
Yeah.
So, that's where we come in.
Yeah, I've been to lots of homes like that too. The house was basically fine when they bought it, and they were able to get a conventional loan on it. And then at some point they got this bug in their head that they needed to do something to the home, and they decided to renovate whatever part of the home. And this one I saw, they had tried to renovate the entire home. And from the outside, it looked like a normal house. The yard was maintained.
Right.
And I walked in, and it was nothing but the frames of the home in
geez.
there. No flooring, no walls, nothing. I'm like, what were they thinking? And
Well, they got the demo right.
yeah, they demoed it fairly good. I mean, they left a few nails a few places that we could have done without, but all in all, I think they did a better job than my own demo team would have done. But and guess what? Person loses their job. And, I don't think they expected this to happen. Maybe they had the intent of renovating this home, but that lender that now owned that property after they lost it at foreclosure. It's kind of amazing that one didn't get bought at the auction, honestly, because it looked good from the outside.
Right.
So you would have no idea that it looked like that on the interior, which is rare.
Walk in and what?
Where's the house?
Where's the rest of the house?
So that one was one that it was pretty fun. We didn't end up buying that one.
No.
The bank didn't take our offer. And I suspect it's because the bank didn't actually believe that was the house on the inside.
Right. Yeah. A lot of them at that point they don't know. They haven't sent an inspector out yet until they actually own it and they've done the foreclosure and all that, and then that's when they realize just how much of a loss they're about to take.
Yeah. So, I've seen some terrible stuff homeowners have done, and I don't know. It's not. I mean, obviously, mortgages are probably the safest, thing that a bank lends on.
Yes. Yeah.
But stuff does happen.
Yeah.
And
most people stop paying their car or their credit cards long before they stop paying their mortgage. So usually the mortgage is the most secure asset.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
But
usually,
there are things that happen in the economy which we have seen, which can prevent that from being the case. But
right.
That was the risk they were willing to take.
Yes.
So that was kind of where you came from. Most recently was you were working in the conventional world, and I'm sure you've already seen some differences. That like paperwork side of it being one of the main paperwork, like the main differences. But working with some of the borrowers, I'm sure, is a different experience too.
It is,
'Cause
it seems to be most homeowners are much less informed typically about the loan process. Also, investors have a lot less emotional attachment. So, they're about the numbers. They just give me what the interest rate is, what's my payment, what's my ROI, whereas the homeowners, really, they're not sure what to ask most of the time. So, you almost have to guide them through step by step, and, you really have to do a lot of hand-holding and, reassuring. And whereas the investor is, you're just got to make sure that, okay, is this really a solid deal? Are you telling me all the things that I need to know?
Right.
Or are you hiding something?
Of course, they're always hiding something, right? I mean, if I told you everything, there's no way you're doing this deal.
So, it's a little less emotional, from a deal-to-deal standpoint from borrowers. But for the most part, it's all the same. It's just numbers.
Yeah, just numbers, and that's that's kind of the easy thing about being in the business of people that are in the business of the real estate side. Personally, I don't like dealing with the newcomer, the people that are
right.
The homeowners. I don't like dealing with them. That's why I never got my real estate agent license or anything like that. I never wanted to deal with people that are I'd have to explain every single thing to 20 different times.
Right. Have to show them a house and they go, oh, it's got a pink kitchen. I hate it. Well, you can paint that.
Nah, you can't do that. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think it's because people think that? Is it a mentality thing where you just assume that the way that a house comes is the way you got to keep it? I mean, or is it hard for them to imagine that this is going to be theirs? They're going to own this thing and can do anything with it. Is that?
I think most homeowners, when they're out looking for houses, they're looking for their dream house.
Okay.
Especially this day and age with HGTV, and they see the fancy kitchen and the the nice tile on the floor and all that. So when they're looking at the houses that are out there, if it's not up to those standards, it's I don't know how to do all that stuff, and it's going to cost me a lot of money. I don't want to have to do any improvement. So. Most of the time, they're looking for something that's already ready to go. So,
right.
And
turnkey.
That's why turnkey.
Which is good, and that's usually the way we deliver them when we're done. That's why a lot of people buy our properties, before they go shop for other ones that might need some work.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, you've done some home renovations of your own, and it's tough. Like you go to the tile store and you want to pick out those tiles you saw on HGTV that looked really good on that backsplash, but then you need to get the countertop, the quartz countertop that they had on the show, and then you're thinking, well, okay, these are at two different completely places. I got to go one place to get the tile, and I don't even know if that's going to match up with the countertop.
Right.
You have to go back and forth to these places and get samples and lay them out in your kitchen to see how they're going to look in your lighting situation that you got.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, okay, well now the floor's not going to go really well with what I got, so it's.
And then trying to find a contractor that'll actually do it on time and when they say they're going to.
Right. Oh man. And contractors are tough to find right now.
Oh yeah.
Because they're busy. There's a lot of home renovation stuff going on for regular folks. A lot of construction going on. A lot of renovations for investors going on.
Yeah.
So it's tough to pin down the good ones at the moment.
Yeah, and here in California, we got hit so bad with the downturn, and construction came to a halt. So all the guys that had real experience, were without a chair for a job, so to speak, back in the day. And so now, a lot of them have found new jobs, new trades, and they're either a truck driver working for Amazon, or they've left the state for work and employment. So we've got a small pool of qualified, experienced contractors out there, and it definitely shows when you're out shopping for one these days.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I mean, before the crash, construction had made up somewhere, I think it was around 20 to 30% of our local economy in the Inland Empire.
Right.
And then, but then once the crash happened, logistics became a new thing, and that's now 20% of our economy, and construction's 20% of the economy, which means we lost other job sectors. Some of the other ones have shrunk also as a result, but 40% of our local economy is logistics or construction. Yeah. And that's big. So if Amazon were to go offline, that would damage our local economy seriously. Yeah. So keep buying stuff on Amazon, folks. Yes. It's really helping.
Easy button.
Yeah. And it's funny because Amazon's changed in the last couple of years too, because I remember, for a long time you'd buy on Amazon and it would show up in a UPS or FedEx or a, postal service package. But now it's Amazon has their own delivery drivers, right? And they're showing up in their own vehicles and delivering you packages. Getting
Amazon ready to come right into your house too nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
That new service.
And they'll even come on Sundays,
right?
Like Postal Service doesn't deliver Sundays, neither does UPS or FedEx. So if you order something on Amazon, you can have it delivered the next day, even if it's a Sunday.
Right.
Which, I just used this service not that long ago because I had to buy something for my computer. And, I wanted to be able to bring it into the office on Monday, not wait to get it on Monday and have to do it later in the day. So it delivered on Sunday.
Trying to make shopping easier nowadays.
Yeah, it's
online.
working. It's working. They got me hooked. So... yeah, logistics is a big deal. Construction. I don't know how we got onto this tangent. We were supposed to be talking about lending, but
Riverside County. Speaking of construction and building, we're one of the few last places that has land to build. So everybody's coming out to this area. So it's really keeping the economy out here pretty on fire. People can't afford L.A., Orange County, so they're moving out here. So there's a lot of potential here in the Inland Empire. Yeah. Even when some of the rest of the country might start slowing down, we'll probably still see some growth and some appreciation here in the Inland Empire. That's why it makes a great place to invest right now.
Yeah, we just need to build about 5 or 6 more interstate highways to make it east and west, a couple north-south ones.
So it's not a 3-hour drive to Orange County in the middle of the day, even on a Saturday.
Yeah, and it's funny because when they put the fast track in, like on the 91 freeway, when they put that in, I remember a lot of people thinking, like, we don't need a toll road here in California.
Right.
It's going to fail. This thing's going to be terrible. But
now they're charging $20 one way.
Yeah, and I think they're doing just fine.
I think so too.
Never looked at their books or anything, but I think they're doing all right.
Right. I'm sure.
Yeah, that was a good move on their part. And plus, now there's other fast track locations like in LA off I want to say it's the 10 freeway or something like that. You can also use it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. No, it's not the 10.
Or the 105 or...
105 sounds like it. Or no, maybe it's the 110. The 110? I don't. They're out there somewhere.
Anyways.
If you know, send us an email here at KCAA Radio. We'd love to hear that. Love to check it out. The lending side of things is
back on track.
Yeah, back on track. That's what you're... Who are you? No. So the some of these homes you've dealt with on the hard money side, you're used to seeing the really ugly stuff.
Right.
What's ugly to you? Like, what do you see that's ugly?
Well, I've heard one investor that says he doesn't like a house if it doesn't smell like cat pee and have trash that's piled up to about his knees and having to walk through it. So, back in the day, my dad had one house that was in Muscoy, of all places, and that would have probably qualified for one of the ugly houses for sure. The windows were all boarded up, and when you walked in, there's feces on the floor, and the toilets are broken out, and there's pretty much nothing there that's going to be reused.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to go re-gut the entire house, kind of like the house that you saw, fine on the outside, only this was not fine on the outside, too.
Yeah.
So
it was all bad all the way around.
Seems like most people are looking for, most of the investors that are out there, it seems like they're buying the ugliest house in the block and, trying to make it the nicer house on the block, and that's the most popular. But, most of the other houses that fall somewhere in between there usually are a little overpriced in this market right now.
It's funny because I was just telling Tyler at lunch. I was telling him about a house in Muscoy that fit that description.
Oh, okay.
Except we found a woman in the
Could
house.
be the same one, just back in the condition again.
Could have. I don't know. They had a small fire in it. I suspect it was from drug production.
Right.
They didn't say that anywhere on the listing or anything, but I suspect they were producing some kind of drug in the house, and that caused a small fire. But it was subsequently boarded up, and then some people had moved into it after they had boarded it up, and proceeded to use it as a bathroom. That place was
probably could have contributed to the fire as well with the heating.
Yeah, you never know. I didn't
little
ask.
Campfire on the inside.
I didn't do an interrogation of the people in the house, but we didn't end up buying that one either. That one was one of the ones that it was so bad that we were just kind of like, where do you even start with this thing?
Right. How much are you going to pay me to take this one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one was bank owned, so it definitely wasn't your dad's place. But that was funny. It's just funny that you say Muscoy because that's my only Muscoy story.
Oh, really?
I don't think we've ever bought anything else in Muscoy.
Yeah, I've kind of avoided that area myself.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
There
are nicer spots in San Bernardino, believe it or not.
There are. Yeah, Muscoy. You got potential out there, Muscoy.
Right.
Let's make something happen.
Yeah.
You got horse property, which is a nice thing to have. Out that way. It can be nice. Norco. Look at what Norco did. They got horse property.
Yeah.
So the I don't want to badmouth Muscoy. They're on our primary marketing right here. I mean, they're just down the street from the radio station.
They sure are.
We can go stop by Muscoy on the way back. And go say hi to some folks there.
Go say hi. Pick up a few properties.
Yeah, sure. Why not? They're giving them away out there.
Right.
But hey, there's a place for investment anywhere. I remember. When I first kind of got into the business, a lot of people were talking all kinds of stuff about Compton and like Southgate, Watts. These are areas you didn't want to get into as an investor. But, as soon as we were done with the rehab there, we had multiple offers. Like you couldn't hang on to these things if you wanted to.
Sure.
Everything was coming in way above asking price. And the funny thing was is the appraisals were coming in. Like, I remember we made an extra $40,000.
Just in appreciation?
And I wouldn't even call it real appreciation. It was just there was nothing else to buy. Nobody else was renovating homes in Compton, and so we kind of had like a small little corner of the market for like a few months there.
Nice little $40,000 niche, huh?
Yeah, it's not bad, and it's still crazy there. Like I just talked to somebody who just did a deal in Compton, and I want to say they sold this regular 2-bedroom, 2-bath house in Compton for like $800,000 or some ridiculous price.
Eesh.
And I'm like, I was kind of raised in these, this time when you hear about Compton on the news. It was never a good place to be doing any of these things, but they've done a lot to improve the town. Right. And I guess, when you have prices like that, I mean, the riffraff can't even afford to live there anymore.
Right.
So that's gentrification for you. But,
right.
It happened in New York too. I mean, you talk about Brooklyn and, some
San Francisco.
Harlem. Yeah. San Francisco. Certain. Yeah. It happens all over.
Right.
That's what happens when you live in these coastal states,
Right.
So, either there's less riffraff now or they're moving somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know if you know much about the gang activity or anything in California, but
I've heard.
You stay up on it, Go check in every once in a while.
It's a hobby of mine.
Yeah, just show up at a gang, hang out. Like, hey guys, how's it going?
What's happening?
What's your gang attendance looking like these days? Are you guys
is
growing?
it up or down?
Yeah. Growing or getting smaller?
A little more armed, a little less armed.
Yeah, exactly. How armed are we? Is everybody carrying 2 guns now? Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. It's I don't know. There are experts on this stuff.
There are. Yes.
I'm just not one of them. But we've been in plenty.
I remember when properties here in the Inland Empire were 125 was an average purchase price out here. I mean, going from that to Compton at 900,000. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. What happened?
What happened?
Yeah, and that was an area that. I know plenty of people wouldn't want to step foot in there into Compton, but
right.
We've been in, and you can tell there's gang activity still prevalent in those areas, but for the most part, I feel like if you just kind of keep to yourself, you're not there for that. It's pretty safe to do a deal there, but do that at your own discretion, of course. Don't
Right.
just run out there and do it because some guy on the radio is talking about it.
Don't put your life in danger.
Yeah, don't put your life in danger. Please don't. And if you do, don't say I told you to do it
Right.
because I didn't. Yeah. But yeah, as a regular lender, you never really see these houses. You're never going to them, right? I mean, you're not.
Not these days. It used to be quite a bit. When I first started, we were driving to loan applications, sitting in the customer's house, and and taking a look at everything, and doing the application right there with the carbon paper and the three, press hard because you got to see that last page. That's the one going to the underwriter, and But these days, with the online evaluations and the Zillows and the Realtor.coms of the world, you can pretty much get an idea of what the home value is without having to go to the house and do too much research ahead of time. And we're getting an appraisal anyways on those kinds of deals versus some of the hard money. It doesn't even require an appraisal sometimes if it's sometimes just a drive by or just a broker price opinion. Or an online evaluation too.
Yeah, and I know if you have like a good rapport with the lender, they'll take your pictures.
Right.
They just want to see some kind of previous condition of it.
Sure.
Again, appraisal is a very formal thing, but appraisal serves a couple purposes for the lender. Number one, it's to give them an estimation of value. That's the big one. But then secondarily, and actually fairly important to the lender, is to have somebody go to the property and verify that it's there, verify the condition, because it's just another set of eyes that you don't have, and that's why you pay an appraiser to go out there and do these things.
Yeah.
And you get the inspector also to do these things because they'll take a more in-depth look at everything. So it's
back in the day, but in the subprime heyday, there was a couple of loans running across my desk where we had to buy them back because the house didn't exist. It was Detroit. It might have been one of the areas where it was there one day, and the appraiser actually took pictures of a property next door, not the actual property, and it was kind of an interesting thing. But
no, on a case
it does happen.
On a case like that, were they able to prove fraud of any kind, or was that something that maybe the appraiser had made a mistake?
The broker had gone out of business long before that got bought back, and I'm sure it was one of the several fraudulent deals that ran across the desk. I'm sure back in the day, that was before the Dodd-Frank and everybody having to be licensed. You could just close down your doors and reopen under the next ABC Mortgage Company name.
Yeah, exactly. ABC 7 now.
Yes.
We're not having that much. Well, I mean, for right now, mortgage lending is, it's qualified.
Yeah, this is probably the tightest the market has been. That's another big difference between what's going on in the past, where we had some risky lending going on, and what's going on now. The lenders are at a record low default rate. It's something less than 1% of mortgages are in default these days. So much safer bet to be being in mortgages or investing in mortgages these days than it was in the past.
Yeah. But I think if we see interest rates go up, which the Fed's predicted they're going to go up a couple more times this year or something, which if they do, that could actually impact especially California and some other coastal areas.
Yeah, I think that what it'll do is put the brakes on the values. I don't think we'll see as much. I don't think that we're going to see anything devalue or depreciate, but I think the amount of appreciation will slow down. So we'll go from what are we now? The 10s is not uncommon, 11 double digit, low double digits in a lot of areas. We'll go down to single digits. 5% appreciation, 6% appreciation when that starts happening. And you'll see, the affordability factor coming into play much more.
Oh, yeah.
And the ability of people to list their house at top value at that point is going to start coming into play.
Yeah.
Instead of it being a seller's market the way it is right now, it'll turn much more into a buyer's market at that point. But still, we're still in record low interest rates these days. I've been lending for about 30 years, and in the mortgage industry as a whole, looking back over the last 30 years, a normal market and a normal interest rate falls somewhere between 6 and 8%. So when people start telling me, oh, 5%, oh my God, we're going to get up to there. It's so high. I'm like, I'm looking back on, no, it's not. It's still, a pretty good rate. I mean, come on.
It's funny
when I first started, I remember saying, congratulations, I can get you single digit on that refi interest rate.
9.95.
Yeah, 9.99 instead of your 12.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. I've heard plenty of people tell me stories. In fact, I just one of our investors, he was going to show off the house that we were working on with him, and he brought his dad with him, real proud about the property and everything. Right. And his dad told me they bought a house in 1982, and their mortgage interest rate was like 18 point something. I'm like, wow. That was definitely, that's the highest they've ever been. Was in October of '82 was actually at the highest the interest rates ever were. But he he happened to get a house at that time. Of course, the house that he bought was like $50,000. Sure. And it was in Los Angeles somewhere. Right. But still, an 18%. I mean, I did the math on my financial calculator there real quick, and I'm like, so your payment was about, I think it was something like $1,200 or $1,300 somewhere in there that he was paying. Yeah. He's like, yeah, it sounds about right. Right. And I'm like, wow, that's a big payment, especially because
for such a small loan amount. Yeah.
Yeah. When you take into the loan amount, but for a house payment, $1,200. That's a pretty low mortgage by today's standards.
Oh, today's standards, people would do backflips to get that kind of a payment here in Southern California.
Yeah, exactly. If you'd like a $1,200 mortgage,
and you don't want to have to put $200,000 down.
Oh man, yeah, that's the other thing. Well, down payments are different because back then it was like 20% down or nothing.
Right. Yeah, so, you didn't have a lot of choice.
So now there's like the FHA, some of the programs like what do they have? They have like a
3.5%.
What's that 0.5% one down I always hear about?
There's a CalHFA where they'll do some grants and some second trust deeds and help you out with some assistance for 0.5%. But then about the only 100% financing out there these days right now on a regular basis is the VA loan.
VA, yeah, they're always.
Otherwise, it's Fannie Freddie's 3% and FHA's 3.5%.
Yeah, and if you get that CalHFA, that
it's like $100 down.
$100 down. Wow,
works out.
And so there's probably some people that are like, really? They're probably like, how do I get that? How do you get that, Ryan?
Well, you've got to go to a CalHFA approved lender and go through some courses, some home buyer education, and a few things like that. And your income can't exceed certain limits, so that's the hitch, so to speak. Is most of the down payment assistance programs these days are kind of hard to qualify for both the down payment assistance and the house because your income has to be so much to be able to afford the house payment and can't be too much to get the down payment assistance. So a lot of people wind up you're $3,000 too much annual income. Sorry, you don't qualify.
Yeah, and so. There's no jumbo version of this. You can't go buy that $800,000 house in Compton and well, bummer. There goes my hopes and dreams. Thanks. No. Yeah. But I mean,
just gonna have to flip a couple extra properties and get that 10 to 15% down.
That's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna have to be, I guess. Well, 3% down though. You're talking on a $300,000 home right now. What is that? 30 grand?
No. That's only about 11,000.
Yeah, I'm doing
11,
bad math.
Yeah,
I don't know where I even came up with that number. That wouldn't even make sense.
That's 10%.
Yeah, that's 10%. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Maybe I need some kind of sleep or coffee. I'm still got fireworks going on in my brain.
That makes sense.
I was trying to sleep with a bunch of, it sounded like we were going to war outside.
Right. Yeah. My dogs kept looking at me when I told them to, go outside and go to the bathroom. They're like, no, I can hold it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was, it's funny because because I live in Riverside County, right? So I'm like everywhere I drive, there's all these signs saying, fireworks are illegal in Riverside County. And, it just didn't seem like that. No. Everywhere I went, you look out your front door in the middle, at 8 o'clock at night, and you just see fireworks going off everywhere. You can hear them everywhere. And I think you even said it too.
Oh yeah,
the firework display that you had in your house.
My neighborhood, I think the fireworks display in the neighborhood was better than the one that the city put on.
Yeah, exactly. And it was free.
I think everybody went across the border, either the over into Arizona or Nevada or down into TJ to get their 4th of July festivities. So we had some nice ones.
It was funny because my kids were asking me where do you even buy these illegal things? I'm like, I honestly don't know where you can get these things. things. I've never even seen one of these mortar style
Right.
fireworks. I've never even seen them. I don't even know what they look like.
So we used to go to South Carolina for summer trips when I was a kid, and they had fireworks stands all over the place. And you could buy everything from the M80s to little firecrackers to Roman candles, all the stuff that here in California you can't play with. So that was a lot of fun trying to blow off your hands with all these other quote unquote illegal firecrackers. And, Roman candles and
the Roman candles are the ones that just shoot up in the air, right?
Oh yeah.
I think I saw some people shooting off those, but they're not spectacular. Like, they don't have the big.
They're just a
boom.
fireball that comes out and
Yeah, it's nothing.
You shoot each other with them and then get little burns all over your clothes.
Is that what they do? I
Yeah.
see.
At least that's boys and girls, don't listen to this.
Yeah,
You can't do
exactly.
this.
Yeah, don't try
do
this at home. They're illegal anyway. No, because I told my kids, I said, well, I went down to Mexico, I went down to Rosarito one time, and we're down there, and you could just buy fireworks all over the place. I remember we were, shooting off M1000s out on the beach, and nobody stopped. Actually, the police came by, but they just came by to help out a little bit.
Right?
Here,
you got a light?
Yeah, they offered a light for us. Asked if they could throw a couple out there. Yeah, it was a little different.
Just a little.
But I wouldn't even know what those. I've heard of them. Like somebody told me that they had a party where they were lighting off these mortar style things, and I'm like, well, how come you didn't call me? Like, I was at home, watching the firework display in my bathrobe, enjoying.
Yeah, right.
I just needed a couple beers and it would have been fine.
Exactly.
We'd have to make a run to the grocery store.
Boys and girls, let all the drunk adults do the fireworks,
Yeah,
please.
exactly. Yeah, come on, you guys.
It's
go,
safer.
Yeah, go do something else. Anyway, that's why I have bad math.
Yeah.
So 3% down on a $300,000 house is not $30,000.
No,
for the
3% is $9,000. So the average down payment. So when first-time home buyers, most of them are going to get away with somewhere between about $10,000 and $15,000 in this market. If you've got somewhere in that, you can still afford a house in Southern California.
And that's pretty affordable.
Yeah.
So you always
You
hear
got about a $1,900 a month payment. $300,000 purchase price, minimal down payment. You're going to be looking at about a $1,900, $2,000 a month payment. Typically.
That's going to be your typical 3-4 bedroom home, 2-bath.
Yep.
Somewhere around the Inland Empire. This is kind of the core here.
Yeah.
If you get up to the high desert, those prices drop a little bit. You get out towards some of the low desert areas, Thousand Palms, Desert Hot Springs.
Yeah.
It's going to drop a little bit. Maybe towards, I don't know, Lake Elsinore is probably doing fairly well right now price-wise.
Yeah, it is. It's in the solidly the mid to high 300,000s is what I see mostly in the Lake Elsinore area, you know, and I think the affordable places these days, for that first-time home buyer price point is, Moreno Valley, Paris, Hemet, San Jacinto, Murrieta kind of areas, San Bernardino, Highland,
maybe like Yucaipa to some degree. Rialto, Bloomington, Fontana. Some of those out there. The
outliners that outliner areas that you can still find decent deals. You can still find flips out in that area as well.
Absolutely.
So,
we do a
those
lot.
are the areas that probably the investors are looking at harder. Because that's a good price point for most flip properties. Because those will sell fast.
But they get like those communities actually get that benefit, and it's weird to think of it in this way, but they get a benefit because there's going to be more renovated homes in that area. Whereas when you go into kind of like an upper income area, a lot of the flippers avoid those. Number one, because the price point's so high, and number two, you don't really see a lot of the distress in the higher income brackets. It's not as common, so it's not as often you see a really nice neighborhood, where everybody's got amazing landscaping in their front yard and they all got flagpoles, like a nice neighborhood,
right?
And then there's that one,
right? Sore thumb,
but it's always that one. There's not 20 in that neighborhood. Some of these neighborhoods you can go into, it's like you got that one nice house in the neighborhood,
right?
And then the rest of them are pretty bad. They'd be the type of property I would buy. So those neighborhoods kind of get the benefit of multiple rehabs going on the same street or in the same neighborhood, where you can have a higher percentage of homes to purchase. But in the higher stuff, I know I've heard this, and this is probably where you hear a lot of that. Oh, but the kitchen's pink, you know,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they don't have any rehabs to pick from in those neighborhoods.
Right.
They got to do the renovations themselves. So, you know, it's kind of for the buyer in those price points, you got to be prepared to do some of those home renovation, cosmetic type things to a home. So in addition to your down payment, you're going to have some money also set aside to do renovations.
Yeah, and you know, in the conventional world, you know, it's difficult to finance when you're putting minimal down payment down. It's very difficult to find financing to help you do those improvements after you've purchased the property.
Right.
You pretty much have to put it on credit cards or personal loans and things like that, because, you know, in the conventional world, they're always looking at, you know, 1 year that you've owned the home before they'll take the appraised value. They like to double hit you. It's either the lower of the purchase price or the appraised value during that first year. So, you know, most people can't afford to do those those rehabs on a loan type of a budget.
Yeah.
So
be prepared to roll your sleeves up and do a lot of work yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, and get the Home Depot card out.
Oh man, hey, they love giving their credit cards out too. Yeah, they pretty much offer it to me every time I go there. You know, they like, have you gotten a Home Depot card? You know?
0% for the first 6 months.
Like, really? If you make that 18 months, I'll do it.
Right.
So call me if you're going to do it for 18 months, Home Depot. I would love to.
Hello.
Yeah, exactly. Please? No. You can't beg to a lender. That's improper. No, No, we just, we use Amex. We use American Express for everything because they give us cash back, you know.
Of course.
So it's better than not cash back.
Right. 0% and cash back. Can't beat that.
I know. I love it. Thanks, Amex. But I guess we're not the typical people. Most people carry a balance and, they're paying them interest. So thank you, all those folks out there paying interest on their Amex.
We appreciate that.
We appreciate you. And, I just want to say that special thank you now. So but the typical home buyers it's obviously a different world, but we have to kind of stay abreast as investors. We have to kind of stay aware of what's going on for the home buyer because that's who we're going to have to deal with when we go to sell it.
Right.
So, it's important for us to keep track of these loan programs, and not every home we sell is going to a first-time home buyer.
No.
And, for a while there, and I don't know why I had this thought, but I kind of had this belief that FHA was only for first-time home buyers.
It is not.
Yeah, and I don't know why I had thought that. I don't know where that ever even came from. But, then I suddenly start to realize these people are buying their second home using an FHA loan. And I'm like, I thought that wasn't possible, And I'm like, then what's the point of Fannie Mae and, FHA? I don't understand. I was confused. And then Freddie Mac came into the picture. I'm like, what is, well, they've been in the picture, but, I'm like, so, I mean, what's the difference between the three? Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and FHA.
So they're all three government agencies. Fannie and Freddie are not really, they're quasi-government agencies. So they're not an official government agency. They are a private. They were private until the crash, and
it's like a
the
government-sponsored
took
enterprise,
over them,
right?
And exactly, and so
I don't know anything
they
about
got the
these. I'm just
backing of the government. So
yeah,
but they're just the guidelines between the two different programs. So the conventional Fannie Freddie is, their history has been the 20% down, loan to, a home buyer who's very solid, has reserves, good credit, things like that. And, you're typically getting your best rate with that, with the conventional loan with 20% down. And then FHA has typically been more of a first-time buyer program because their flexibility within their guidelines. So, a conventional loan, you got to have some reserves, to be able to qualify. So, reserves are not money that you're going to use for the transaction. They're left over afterwards. You got money in the bank, so when you're moving, you can pay for your move. And, you can pay for your first payment when it comes to
you have a 401k and stuff like that they like to look at.
Exactly. So, whereas FHA, they don't necessarily require reserves. And they'll allow for a higher debt ratio. They'll allow, they'll look the other way for certain types of collection accounts that maybe, Fannie and Freddie might not. You can have, lower credit scores typically with the FHA.
Okay.
FHA itself does not necessarily have a credit score minimum. That's where what's called overlays come into play with different lenders that have created these so that they don't have to buy the loan back if it goes bad.
Okay.
So they've kind of modeled it so, most of them are around 550 minimum, 580 minimum for an FHA FHA loan, but
Sure.
that's just lender by lender. The FHA loan will, lend the lend up to 96.5%. They'll put mortgage insurance on that just to make sure that if you don't make payments, they've got an insurance fund to help with, foreclosure process and
That's
taking
nice.
losses and stuff like that. It doesn't protect the borrower whatsoever,
Right.
only the lender involved. That's why you hear people that want to get rid of the mortgage insurance because it's not giving you any benefit at all.
Exactly, and you have to pay for it.
Yeah, and on the FHA loan, a few years ago, they made it permanent, so there's no getting rid of it. There's no, I pay my loan down to 20% and I can get rid of it like you can on a conventional loan. So
you're paying MI the entire time,
Yep.
Entire duration of an FHA loan.
till your very last payment on
Wow.
an FHA loan these days.
Now, is that some kind of like a sliding scale of
It's based on the loan amount every year.
so it's always going to be the same payment for the duration of the loan?
Not quite. It's based on the loan amount. So as the loan amount's going down, the amount of the insurance that you pay is also going down.
Okay.
But it's pretty static for the first 15 years.
Well, yeah,
because your balance doesn't go anywhere the first 10.
Right. Yeah,
It barely
thanks.
goes anywhere between 10 and 15.
Thanks a lot, compound interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, whereas with a conventional loan, it goes away at some point in time. So that's
Yeah.
the advantage of doing the conventional loan. Now, Fannie and Freddie, wanted to compete with, some of that FHA market, and so they started lowering their requirements for the down payment from 20%, and they took it down to 10 and 5%, and recently down to 3% as a minimum down payment. But there's mortgage insurance that goes along with that as well.
So,
But
you can get rid of it at some
Yes.
point. Once
So-
you get to what, 10% equity or
20%.
20%
So,
equity.
unlike the FHA where it's on for life and those kinds of things, but your credit could be a little bit shaky.
Mm-hmm.
Your job stability might not necessarily have to be that solid and things like that for FHA. Whereas with a conforming loan, if you've got good job stability, you've got decent credit, you've got the income to support. The conventional loan program is a much better quote unquote deal, even if you're paying a little more in interest for the conventional loan versus the FHA, just because of the MI factor. Because the MI on an FHA loan is adding, not quite 1%, it's 0.85% every month to your loan amount. And you're paying 2.25% of the loan amount up front for your mortgage insurance as well, which you don't have to do on a conventional loan. So even if the mortgage insurance is a little more expensive on a conventional loan and the rate is a little bit higher, over a period of time, most homeowners nowadays, it used to be a 7-year. They'd buy and sell every 7 years. It's getting to be 15 to 20 years now.
Wow.
So if you're in it that
I
long.
got to cut you off there because we're just about out of time. So
Okay.
For those of you that want to come talk to Ryan, meet him, what's your phone number real fast?
It's area code 951-543-2846.
All right. Give Ryan a call and come check out the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, 4th Wednesday of the month. Go to meetup.com. Check us out, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks you all for tuning in. Take care.
All right.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM. The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is home to some of the best bargain shopping in the region. Cityware, Style for Less, and Dollar Tree, to name just a few. Friendly shop owners and staff are waiting for you to stop in for the many specials and bargains they're excited to share. The Tri-City Shopping Center is located just off I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. Make it your home for all your shopping needs, and you'll know why the Tri-City Center is called the Mall with a Heart. If you're looking for a full or part-time sales position and you have radio, TV, or print media experience, KCAA has a great opportunity waiting for you that pays the highest commissions in the market. KCAA is the only station in the IE that broadcasts on 3 frequencies, so advertisers receive 3 ads for 1 low rate. This makes KCAA a must-buy for every local business. If you're interested in a sales position with us, email CEO@kcaaradio.com.
Are you having trouble sleeping? Are you always tired and worn out? Is it affecting your work and personal life? Well, South Pacific